Sambe Sankara Anicchati Yada Panyaya Passati Atanim Bindati Dukkhe Esamaggo Visundhiya. When with wisdom one sees all conditioned things are impermanent, then one is disenchanted with dukkha. This is the path of purification. Sambe Sankara Dukkati Yada Panyaya Passati Atanim Bindati Dukkhe Esamaggo Visundhiya. When with wisdom one sees all conditioned things are unsatisfactory, then one is disenchanted with dukkha. This is the path of purification. Sabbe Dhamma anattati Yada Panyaya Passati Atanim Bindati Dukkhe Esamaggo Visundhiya. When with wisdom one sees all things are not self, then one is disenchanted with dukkha. This is the path of purification. My theme for tonight is continuing with the Nidana Sutta that we were talking about last weekend, particularly remembering the line about yatha bhuta jnana dasana, knowing and seeing things as they really are, and how that is the proximate cause for nibbida, becoming disenchanted. So beautifully summarized in that famous verse in the Dhammapada that I just recited for you. This is verse 277 and 279 in the Dhammapada. I'd like to set up in your mind a thought or a concept that you might notice during meditation. And that is how whatever you consider in meditation, the breath, the body, the sensations, the feelings, awareness itself is always changing. So there's no stability to be found anywhere. It's always changing. And then the second idea is whatever you consider, whether it be the breath, the body, sensations, feeling, perception, awareness itself, there is a lack of a compactness. So if a person is ignorant and they see something, let's suppose you see a foreigner, a person who is not part of your group, you might jump to a conclusion about what kind of person that is, and you just see them according to your stereotype. You don't see the actual person. You just see a stereotype. And the same way, everything that you look at, if you don't have wisdom and you just see it with concept as a fixed object, you see things in a stereotype way, not as they really are. But if you have wisdom, you see that everything is arising and interacting with everything else all the time. So it's like even how you pay attention determines what you experience, and what you experience determines what goes on in the mind. Um, the mind seems to control the body, but really the body is controlling the mind. Everything is continuously in this interdependent interaction. There's no compact entity anywhere. So those two things could be noticed during the meditation, and that will be the setup for our discussion a little bit later on this evening about seeing things as they really are, and how it just makes it impossible to be attached to anything. So you have the nibbida, you just drop it. Because how can you be attached to what's constantly changing? How can you be attached to something that's just a part of the web of interdependent phenomena? You can't be attached. There's nothing to be attached to. So let's sit for meditation. Coming to an upright and balanced posture. Aware of the material body. Feeling the weight of the body pressing on the chair or the cushion. Feeling the feet or the legs connected to the floor. Feeling the earth element. Making the back upright and balanced. Feeling the head balanced at the top of the spinal cord. Aware of just enough energy to keep the body upright like that. Imagine a string at the top of the head, lifting the body up, opening the way for the chi or the energy of the body to flow. And then without losing the posture, relaxing the body, letting the face relax, letting the shoulders drop, letting the hands be relaxed, letting the belly be soft, letting the hips relax, letting the legs relax. Aware of whatever sensations are touching the body. On the surface, touching the skin, the temperature of the room, the touch of clothing, the pressure of the body on the seat or the cushion. And inside the body, any sensation in the muscles or in the joints or in the belly. Bringing awareness in touch with the body. Anything tight or tense or nervous in the body, let it relax. Have a relaxed, calm attitude. Just let it be just the way it is. And if the rise and fall of breath is noticeable, one can rest awareness in the breath, keeping very calm and relaxed, so gentle, just resting on the breath. Awareness resting in the body and the breath, the movement of the body. If the mind is restless or wandering, notice that, what it's like. And when you can, come back to the body, the sensations in the body. If you really lost the meditation, start at the beginning, aware of the earth element connected to the cushion or floor, aware of the energy keeping upright, aware of all the sensations, and then letting the breath come to the front. Otherwise, simply resting awareness, gently resting on the breath. extending awareness to boundless space with the thought of compassion for beings everywhere, in every direction, with minds just like ours, with bodies just like ours, minds and bodies in every direction, without any boundary, with no limitation, around, above, below, all around. May all of them be released from dukkha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhammang sanghang namasami. So one of the great benefits of meditation will be to dismantle that construction that the mind is always making about permanence or continuity, and the other construction that the mind keeps on making about the self, or about, viewing this person as a solid, compact entity which needs to be protected, which needs to be taken care of, which needs to be safe, which is filled with likes and dislikes and so on. And to dismantle or take apart the tendency to create stereotypes about all the different things that we encounter in life, to take some particular aspect or some quality and consider that that's the essence, that something is good, something is bad, something is beautiful, something is ugly, and so on, and just see them as having a single color, one essence, and then making the mistake of thinking that the objects and the people and the things that we encounter in life are going to be keeping a hold of that essential quality. Trying to think that because something was manifested yesterday, that it's going to be the same thing tomorrow. In meditation, one way to break up the sense of permanence is to observe the breath as continuously changing, seeing every single breath as being different than the one before, seeing the movements of the body as being continuously changing, even seeing how impossible it is to force the mind to hold the experience that's coming up for us to be exactly the same. So the mind very frequently can wander, different thoughts, different images can come up to the mind, even if we're very well settled and very mindful, having directed awareness towards sensations in the body or towards the sensation of the rise and fall of breath. Then many different kinds of other random sensations can come along. Many other different kinds of random thoughts or images can come into the mind, even though the mind is calm and settled and attending to the breath. So the impermanence of the mind, the impermanence of awareness, not able to just be like turning a switch and the mind is onto one thing and just stays fixed on that one thing, like like if there was a light bulb that didn't have any vibrations in it, and it was just a light, you turn it on and it's on, and it stays just exactly the same brightness, exactly the same color with no vibrations and nothing like that, solid and unchanging. But you can't experience that anywhere in meditation. You never experience meditation as being solid and unchanging like that. Always meditation is something that's alive, that's got some kind of a frequency of a vibration or a change happening. So you will always see that within meditation, how it changes, how quickly it changes. In terms of breaking up the delusion about experiencing oneself as a compact entity, one suggestion is just making the distinction between the body and the mind, between the material elements of the body and the mind, which is capable of awareness, capable of knowing. And it's how those two are connected. It's not such a simple thing as saying that the mind is one thing and the body is a different thing, and the mind is got some kind of connection to be experiencing the body. That's really not how it is if you see how it's actually experienced in meditation, that there is a much more dynamic and interactive flow of the whole experience about how mentality or cognition or sentience or the mind, how that's actually arising out of the experience of the body or experience of whatever else one is directing it to. Or if you have done a lot of work with the 5 aggregates, you might see the body as one thing, and then the mental experience as having more parts that can be seen, like how the Vedana or the feeling arises, how perceptions come up, how intentions arise, like, what it's like in the whole ever-changing flow of mentality, how there's can be like a feeling, but we're not quite sure what it is, and then something tips over, like some kind of there's some kind of something that crystallizes, like a chemical reaction, and then it comes into clear focus, and then one could recognize, so this is pleasant, or this is unpleasant, and then it may like crystallize even further, like some thought or some object. This is light, or this is dark. Perception, and then even another turning the page into another part of the experience of the mind, when you see what an intention is, what the volition is, that we talked about this last time, that the mind is directing awareness to be aware of the body. So that's an intention. You did that on purpose. Or else, if there's some pain, somewhere, and then you need to adjust the posture or make some kind of adjustment, that was done. That happened on purpose. Or else you start to worry about your shopping list, or the thought comes up about the shopping list, and then the mind stops paying attention to the breath and starts paying attention to the shopping list, and so there's that movement. And so you can see all these phenomena and their interactions, and you can see it as something that's breaking apart and kind of like falling apart. But I'd like to ask another question, which is the question about dukkha. Why would we think that something that was impermanent and ever-changing will be dukkha? Why would we think that something which doesn't have a permanent self, or this compact essence, that instead is dynamic and interactive and affected by causes and conditions, connected to everything else, connected with the body, connected with whatever happened yesterday or what happened earlier on today that may create some conditions for what happens in the meditation, connected with what's around in the environment, whether your environment is quiet and calm or whether your environment is chaotic or noisy. So then there's that interdependent quality, but why do we say that's dukkha?
Because we can't enjoy it.
Okay, now answers, and Dhammika is given her answer.
Thank you. Because when everything is changing all the time, when we can't hold it and we can't enjoy it, it's not permanent, it is dukkha. Say supposing I own something, age. Our age is changing all the time. Our body is changing all the time. My body does not do what I want it to do. The body falls sick without my permission, and that is definitely dukkha. This I caught a illness, and I didn't want that illness. It just came to me without any permission from me. And I consider this body as mine, and I take care of it so carefully. I feed it, I bathe it, I keep it clean, and it does whatever it wants. And definitely it is dukkha. That's how I look at it. Thank you.
So, right, the lack of control. Lack of control is, and if your feeling was self, you could say, let my feeling be this, let my feeling be that, and it would do what you want, but it doesn't because it's not self. So you don't control it. But it's only because you want to control it that is dukkha. This is kind of like what I'm getting to it's not just because it's not in your control, but it's like if you go to the beach and there's a sunset. Okay, so you're not controlling the sunset, but you don't want to control the sunset. It's because you want to control it that then the lack of control becomes painful indeed. I'm going to call on Daniel.
Yeah, thank you, Ayya. I think when I think of that question that you asked, I think of, we translate dukkha typically as suffering, but it could also be unsatisfactoriness. And what I think of it as impermanence is unsatisfactory because what our craving wants is constant and perfect pleasure at all times. And any break in that, any reduction in that is unsatisfactory. It doesn't meet it. Oh, if only we didn't have this pain or didn't have this whatever, no matter how good it is. And so because things are impermanent and can never and will never be this perfect state of meeting our cravings at all times, it is unsatisfactory.
Great, thank you. While we're here on Earth, in the realm that we're in, we experience a mixture of pleasant and unpleasant. That will be the result of our previous karma, that we got born into a world that gives us a mixture of pleasant and unpleasant experiences. And because we want pleasant, then the what is unpleasant is dukkha. And it also, this idea of wanting constancy, it's like we want a certain amount of stability. We might not want everything to be exactly the same all the time, because that would be boring, but we want a certain kind of stability. And if we don't have that stability, it can feel like we're going crazy or something like that, like it's very dangerous, very unsafe. One could become frightened if the situation is not stable. And so if we know, for example, that because of climate change, the future of humanity is going to be unstable, that can cause a lot of people to be extremely anxious and stressful and difficult, and stirring up all kinds of afflictions, emotional afflictions, just because of that one fact. And in the olden days, it used to be that they didn't necessarily have that particular problem about climate change, but they had a lot of other problems in the olden days. They didn't have that much like social insurance. So if you went out on some endeavor, like you were farming or something, the chance that your crop would fail would be much greater than what it is today. Or if you went out and went into business, the chance that some disaster would destroy your business, or you're going like on a caravan you're a trader and you're taking your goods from point A to point B, there's a much higher chance that some burglars or other kind of disasters are going to block your success. There's a much higher chance that you might be captured by enemies and made into a slave. There's a much higher chance of if you cut yourself, that wound will become infected and you'll come to a fatal disease. So in the human race has been trying to become safe, to make everything safe, to provide security, so that every child is able to have enough to eat and have a house to live in and have a family to be with and be able to live until they're 70 or 80 years old. So that, like, although we don't control the body falls apart. We think that, like in modern times, that they imagine it's possible that you could take care of your body and you have some kind of like a right to a certain number of years of having a healthy body. And if the body gets sick at the wrong time, then you think that it's some kind of a malpractice, or you want to sue somebody because something happened that caused you to be sick when you didn't think it was the right time. So that kind of instability. If it was just a problem about painful feelings, you could try to be reborn in the Brahma realm, in the heavenly world, where everything that you see, hear, touch, smell, and think is pleasant, and where the lifespan is very long. But even there, in the end, it would fail. After a certain number of eons, even the Brahma gods fail. And I was just reading about what happens to them. They start to sweat and have body odor before they fall down into the lower realm, something like that. Other reasons why this impermanence or this non-self is dukkha. I am going to make the strong connection with craving and attachment. When we crave after pleasure, we will suffer. And when we're attached, we'll suffer.
Thank you, Ayya. Attachment is indeed a source of dukkha. From my personal experience, I know that's a source. It's very close to my family, so if anything happened to them, I don't know I could take it. So what I've done was that in my mind, I put my head that somebody gonna knock on my door saying that one of my family members gone, passing away. That's always been like that. So just so that the suffering, the dukkha will be minimal, will be less than if I didn't expect and suddenly it came. And also for my kid, also I raised them and told them that they don't have to worry or support about me, just for them, just for them, for their future. And if they want to support me, it would be up to them, not because of their obligation. But in reality, when that time came, that I that I need something that I can count on them. So it feels dukkha right there. So you feel like you expect some sort of like that relationship, that obligation, is there. But even though I set my mind, plan so much, when it comes, it's still there. So definitely attachment is huge. Yeah.
Okay, Sheila.
Yes, good evening, Ayya. Good evening, everyone. What comes to mind is the constant unease. This isn't good enough. That isn't good enough. this could be better, that could be, this is too much, it's not enough. So just that imbalance of being with what is and the equanimity of holding both of those. So that's what comes to mind when you ask the question.
Thank you. I think that's another aspect of control, isn't it? Like wanting things to be different than what they are, wanting to be more perfect, more better, something somehow or other. It's never quite good enough. It always wants to be a little bit different than what it actually is. And the medicine for that would be like contentment, to be able to receive whatever comes every moment, just exactly the way it is, without any judgment and without any restlessness. Yeah. The verse that I quoted this morning, I mean, not this morning, at the beginning of this hour, when I said, when one sees with wisdom that all conditioned things are impermanent, one becomes disenchanted. This is truly the way that seeing reality as it really is, yatha bhuta jnana dasana, seeing reality truly as it is the proximate cause, which I'm going to translate. See?
Excuse me, Aya. Is
Yes.
your microphone loose or something? The connection? It keeps kind of making a lot of noise and bopping in and out or something. Yeah, there it goes.
Is that better?
It seems like you move a little, then it makes a loud like banging noise or something. I'm wondering if the connection is loose, the wire or something.
I think when you keep it mounted, it should be fine. I think it's just the movement causes the wire to jiggle
The
a little
moment
bit.
is causing it.
Yeah.
So now it may be better. Thank you.
Yeah.
So this nibbida with there's that beautiful metaphor of the dog who's been chewing on the bone and finally he gets tired of it and he just lets the bone drop. And that seemed to me like a wonderful image for letting go of attachment. The attachment is the upadana, the clinging. And the upadana is the fuel for rebirth. And if in every case, like all of the examples that we've seen, when we see how unreliable and changeable this body and mind are, and how unreliable and changeable all of the external things are, when we see that it's because of the craving and attachment that's making it painful for us, then the mind naturally doesn't want what's painful. And so the mind lets go of that attachment as easily as if you accidentally touched something that was too hot, the mind would pull away from it. Just the same way, when you really see that how the attachment to that which is impermanent and not self is painful. When you see it clearly, it's easy to pull away. There's one other thing that, well, this idea of nibbida makes me think of it. Something else which is dukkha. And that is, this is just my idea. Delusion is dukkha. If you think it's one way and you realize that you had it completely backwards, you got it completely upside down, you were a fool, you were an idiot. You thought that the world was a certain way and you were mistaken. That's, it is a kind of a dukkha, isn't it? Or in another way, if you were putting up a sort of a false image, like if you thought, I need to be good, I need to be good all the time, I need to be perfect, I need to be wealthy, I need to have a good house, I need to have a good family, I need to have a good car, and then you're trying to keep up a sort of like a charade of what you think you're supposed to be, and keeping up that charade is so tiresome. It's so weary. It's so boring. Having to keep up a front of something that's not being really truthful about how it is. And so that's how it is actually one way that if you live in a spiritual community where truth is really valued and really appreciated, and where, or if you live in a family where honesty is really appreciated, how relaxing, how really just outstanding it would be to be able to be just honest, to present what's going on just exactly the way it is. How beautiful that would be. So, like, goodness and beauty are connected. That which is good is also beautiful. And I just have this feeling that delusion itself, avidya itself, being in a state of confusion, not knowing the answer, not knowing the way out, that by itself is a kind of dukkha. It's really painful.
I'm wondering if you can say a little bit more about that, because what I've been observing is that delusion, the stories that we tell ourselves, are so intoxicating. And I've noticed in myself that when I'm in pain or suffering, that is a really great escape from the pain and suffering. And that there are times when I wake up from the delusion and experience the dukkha of disappointment It's like, oh, it's like this. It's not like this fantasy and this dream that I was in. So I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit more about that.
Right. So, daydreams are painful when they're over. And the stories that we tell, the stories that we fabricate are kind of it's like sense pleasure. It's a temporary distraction, but it doesn't really do the job. Telling a story, fabricating a story is the cheap and easy way to cover up the underlying anxiety or disappointment, and it just becomes, like a kind of addiction or something like that. That it brings its own pain. That's my idea about it. So, of course, we do tell. You can't stop from telling stories. This is what the mind does naturally. But if you can then just with a kind of a light and gentle spirit, no, this is something that the mind does. Don't take it too seriously. It's just a story. Like if you were in meditation, practicing meditation, and you had an experience like that, your head has left your body and gone up to the ceiling and is looking down or something like that. Uh, if you have a good advisor, a meditation coach, they will say, just don't take it that seriously. Just because it seems that way, it's not important. The important thing is that everything is interdependent, it's impermanent, it's not self. The mind can have all different kinds of experiences. But if you had that experience and you think that you must be, some kind of magic, or I'm an arahant, or something like that, because I had a weird experience in meditation, that would be buying into it and taking the bait, just like taking the bait for a pleasure. But I do, when we look around about in the world and see how people how things go in the public world, we really see the extreme way that it seems like we live now in a virtual world where there's no such thing as truth anymore. There's just different versions of stories that are existing in some kind of virtual reality, which is very disconnected. And then you have these competing stories that are going on. In this way, I believe that connecting to the natural world would be a good antidote, a good alternative to that tendency of whenever was experiencing the extremes of competing stories that's going on within our civilization right now. And you want to be more grounded if you just sit under a tree and feel that connection to the earth, and just be simple, or take a walk and just experience one step after another, taking a walk. I see a comment here from Karuna. It's a wrong view that perpetuates a delusion of where happiness is found, and also keeps us from practicing in an onward leading path. And then that keeps us going around in samsara. So yes, that's of course the other way in which delusion is dukkha, because delusion keeps us trapped on the merry-go-round, going around and around. Okay, Mina.
Thank you, Ayya. I love this conversation tonight. I feel like I'm caught and I can't. I've been trying to get unstuck on something, and it's related to the delusion and the attachment. I've had a lot of loss. I lost my son when he was 12 to drugs, lost him again to prison. My mother, I mean, a lot of background in my family with loss. So I'm I've learned how to detach. It's not easy, but I know at which point I need to let go because of, like you said, you broke it down so nicely for me that because I don't want to suffer, the mind will let go. And I've seen it happen in the process. I know that my heart breaks. I know my heart breaks and I'm able to bear it. I know what that feels like. It seems like it's been the story of my life in this life. But I have a sister who has mental illness and she also should be on medication. She's also a gambler. She lost everything just recently. I brought her in because she didn't have nowhere to go. They do have a lot of money because they sold their home before they lost it. But my thing where I'm caught, because there's mental illness, I'm having trouble letting her go. I feel hurt. I feel the suffering. And I see that she's still making bad decisions, bad choices. And my son has been in recovery now for like 13 years. So I have a good sounding board there. And he says, you got to let her hit bottom. You got to let her hit bottom. She's 65 years old. What does hitting bottom look like for a 65-year-old woman? And I'm watching it happen and I have dukkha. There's dukkha there because of seeing it happen to her. And I feel like I'm caught in something and I haven't been able to disentangle myself from it.
Yes, in this social world, there are certain losses where when you lose somebody, it's over and there's time to go through the stages of grief and to come to the, just in the natural healing process, to come to some detachment where you can still remember the loved one, but you remember them with a smile instead of with tears, because of having let go of that attachment. But then there are other natural situations which, like living with somebody who's mentally ill or living with somebody who's into their active stage of their addiction, and because they're always like there, always in your face, then there's not time to go through the normal and natural stages of grief. So this is the time that the special practices of Buddhism give us the different kind of a training, a special training that allows us to be able to be continuously letting go again and again and again. I would tend to think that the stages of the Brahma Viharas of practicing loving kindness, compassion, appreciative joy, and equanimity would be the most effective, rapid way to be able to quickly get out of that reactivity of where the attachment, comes up so quickly and you don't have time to get out of it. So when you come to equanimity, that's the stage that one can truly know and see the suffering of the particular situation without being continuously caught up in it. So that's my suggestion.
Okay, I went on an 8-day retreat and I couldn't get the mind to settle for about 5 days. But during the process, towards the end of the retreat, I had an epiphany, and it was a wounded warrior, and it just matched what you said right now. There was tidal waves with her, one wave after another, and I never got respite. I never had time to get grounded again.
Mhm.
And going into the retreat, and I had this epiphany, and I saw this wounded warrior. I was able to have compassion for myself. Like I had been in battle with her for 3 months. And finally, this week, I confirmed, I told her and her partner, you need to leave and you have until this time to leave.
Yeah.
So I had to set the boundary. But what you just said right now is I've been going to happy hour metta practice for 4 days a week forever, like since during the pandemic. And I find that that's the only thing that has helped me.
Yeah.
So everything you just said to me is like so right on. So I'm on track. Thank you,
Great.
Ayya.
Thank you. Well, we've come to the end of this wonderfully short time. Okay, Ren?
Thank you, Ayya. I was just wondering if there's a transition that people go through, like when you're getting the idea that the non-permanence and dependent originations and self, you got the idea. Is it like a transition? Because it could feel like a vertigo. It feels, like how there's no ground under you until you found a new ground, right? I mean, eventually it's going to be okay. But what about that transition and how do you deal with it?
Well, I see it in two stages. One is to just convince our mind that it's true that things really are impermanent and without self. And so that can take, many different practices just to break up the tendency of the mind to assume that there's a self and there's that continuity. And then the comfort happens, or the getting out of that insecurity, that fear factor, is when one recognizes the futility of wanting things to be different than what they are. When you see the dukkha in wanting things to be different than what it really is, when you see the dukkha of attaching to something that's constantly changing, when you see the dukkha of being deluded about how it is, when you can really see the dukkha, this is, let your human nature help you. When you really see that it's dukkha, then you don't want it anymore. If you're still wanting it to be, if you're still wanting that attachment, it's because there's some part of it that you're not seeing yet. But when you see that it's dukkha, that all beings have a desire for happiness, all beings, if you really know what dukkha is, then it's completely natural, easy to let go. You don't have to force it. You don't have to use your willpower to let go. You will let go naturally when you really understand what dukkha is.
It's a process.
Yes. Okay, let's close by paying respect to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Araham Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantam Abhivademi Savakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammam Namasami Supartipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sangham Namami.
Thank you, Ayya.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you everybody for your good practice and for your
Thank you.
participation tonight.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Ayya.
Thank you, Ayya.
Good night, everyone.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.